Okay, we'll start in just a minute. We always get a rush of people like 3 minutes before.
Kevin here, by the way.
Oh, Kevin, hey, you are there. Oh, I didn't see that. Okay. Well, what I'll do is at your slide, I'll let you talk for about 30 or 40 seconds. Pinal, you may know Kevin.
Yes, we do.
Okay, I thought you did. Okay, anyway, SQL Century is our sponsor, and I've invited Kevin at any time he wants to come in and talk for about 30, 40 seconds on his slide. And so anyway, y'all probably know each other.
Fantastic.
Much better than you know
very
me.
well.
Yeah.
Yes,
No, I know him very well. I know him very, very well. So glad to see. And yeah, this is very nice. And you will be speaking first, right? In the first slides?
Yes, just for a quick moment or two.
Yeah, he'll be speaking about the second or third slide. It's our sponsor slide, and then he's got some news I'm sure he's going to talk about. I'll let him talk about it, about the Plan Explorer professional version being free. That's a biggie.
Yep, yeah. Been a lot of popular response to that.
I thought that y'all would get a bunch. I mean, the basic one is good, but you know, the professional ones, oh, it's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's about time to start. I'll kick off the broadcast here in about 5 seconds.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning. Welcome to the DBA Fundamentals virtual chapter meeting for September. Today we have Pinal Dave doing a presentation called Performance Tuning as Pinal Dave Sees It. I'm really looking forward to this, as all these sessions where people go through their methodologies, I think they're great. And Pinal, if you don't know, is one of the best people out there. I mean, you look up a question and you Google something on about SQL, you're going to have Pinal's name in there somewhere answering the question, and he's usually the right answer. So anyway, good to be here today, and we have a winner for our $500 for the contest for people that used our discount code, and his name is Luke Lossley. He's already been talked to about it, and probably he's already got his Amazon card by now already. We will be giving away a full comped registration to PASS. It's for all of the people that signed up for any of our September sessions, Down Under and here. So it's actually going to be 2 sessions because one was canceled, and that's going to be rescheduled sometime in 2017. It will not pay for hotel or travel, but it pays for everything else, and the food is fantastic at PASS, so a lot of your food is paid for. So if you've got your hotel reservations and a way to get there, this will pretty well pay for it. The conference is starting on October 26th, with pre-con starting on, I think there may be some actually on the 24th, but I know they're starting on the 25th too. Okay, we have our sponsor, our representative of one of our sponsor. I'll get this out right in a second. Kevin Klein with SQL Century, and he's going to just talk to you about a few breaking announcements.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining us in the webcast today. You know, I was one of the original founders of the PASS organization, and so it's just so exciting to see that we have almost 200 people attending right now, and then hundreds more, of course, listening in to the recording afterwards. We're the sponsors of this event this time, SQL Century. We are the premier SQL Server tools company. And I want to draw your attention right to the middle where it says downloads, and you'll see that there's one that says free Plan Explorer, and there's a link for you there. And the Plan Explorer is one of the most popular tools out there for SQL Server, and what it does is it makes query tuning much, much easier to do. Now, the big news that was mentioned just a moment ago by Steve is that we had the free version. That's what that link initially would take you to. And people love the free version, very powerful, but then we also have a pro version that was $299. Well, just last week we announced that this pro version is also now free. So the $300 version of the product we're giving away to everyone, and as always, we treat you the way that we wanted to be treated as DBAs, and so we don't even ask for your email address. So just get out there and get that tool, start using it. Lots of videos that'll train you on how to take advantage of its very best capabilities, and you'll see that you can go from being whatever your speed was for query tuning before, it will enormously accelerate your query tuning and make a lot of things that were difficult quite easy for you. So again, take a look at that downloads right there, number 3 item on the list. Get that download that normally was going to cost you $299 and get that for free today. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Kevin. And that product is fantastic. That was the first way I found out about SQL Sentry. Somebody said you need to download that Plan Explorer when I started getting into looking at query execution plans, and it made things like 10 times easier. So you definitely ought to try that out. Okay. PASS has a lot of different virtual chapters, so there's tons of free education out there. There's information on just about every topic and just about every major language that you can think of. So go to the SQLPASS.org/VC link and sign up for all the chapters you can get, because free education is fantastic. And as I've said before, the SQL community is just fantastic as far as of giving out information and not expecting anything back. It's just amazing. These are our chapter meetings coming up. In October, we're going to have Bob Ward doing Understanding SQL R Services, what every SQL professional should know. And as everybody knows, one of Paul Randall's favorite people to talk to at Microsoft is Bob Ward, so he knows his stuff. We have another great speaker in October. Aaron Stellato will be doing statistics and query plans in our down under version of DBAFundamentals. And in November, we're going to have Brent Ozar doing another session like this to where he's tuning queries, and he shows you how he goes through and methodically goes through and tunes queries. And there's not always a recipe to do that, but what we're hoping to do is show you a lot of different people and how they do it, so you can start picking and choosing the things you like and the things you feel comfortable with and works in your environment the best. We'll also have a session from a speaker, Mike West. The server is down, what will you do? He goes through and helps you determine what's happening when when your help desk calls up and says, everybody says the server is slow, the major server is slow. It's the types of things that happens to production DBAs every day. And starting next year, we're going to be doing a session with Edwin Sarminianto with what Smart SQL Server DBAs ought to know about Windows Server failover clustering. He's got several courses out there, and they're excellent. SQL Saturdays are another way, if you can't go to the PASS Summit in Seattle, to get a lot of free education. And if you'll go to SQLSaturday.com, you can see if there's anything close to you. These are the ones that are in the U.S. Coming up: Dallas, Kansas City, Minnesota, and Pittsburgh. And there's international versions too. There's not as many, but there are a lot of international sites. Our session will be recorded, and you can get it at either our website under our meeting archive location or at our YouTube channel. And it'll probably be there in a couple of days at the most. PASS is always looking for volunteers. They're always looking for volunteers to do a multitude of things. If you'll go to this link, you can find how you can help, and that will continue the fantastic openness and giving that most people in the SQL community have. So if you want to give back once you've got a lot of free education, go there. And let's see, let me get stay involved. Okay, if you want to sign up, if you're here, you've already signed up, but here's some other links for PASS if you want to go to them. I think that's all for that. I think that's everything. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Pinal, and I'll be introducing Pinal as I'm making him the presenter. Pinal has been part of the industry for more than 11 years. During his career, he's worked in both India and the U.S., mostly working with SQL Server technology. He started at version 6.5, and he's on the very, very latest, greatest. His blog, SQLauthority.com, you'll find referenced thousands of places on the internet. If you, like I said earlier, if you Google a SQL error or question you've got, most of the time in the top 10 you're going to have some answer somewhere from Pinal, or you might see SQL Authority. He's just out there all the time giving, and like I said, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm turning it over to you, Pinal, and I'm going to mute myself.
Fantastic. Hello, everybody. So really good to be here, and I see so many people there. First of all, thank you, Steve, for kindest introduction. I really appreciate it, and actually I love to give. I like to share what I know, what I learn, and that's why I write on SQL Authority. So thanks for grabbing it, and thank you, Kevin, for talking about SQL Sentry's product. I always use it for when I go for my customer. Only concern they used to have it is that when they have to pay for the premier version, but it's good that now it's free, and now we can just download it, no need to provide any detail, and get started with it. And that's really good. So thank you very much. And yeah, guys, so thank you for coming, and yes, stay involved with SQL PASS, and we will be sharing various details. So today I'll talk about one of the experience which I had like 2 weeks ago. I initially wanted to present something different, but 2 weeks ago I had a good experience about the performance tuning, and one of the engagement which I had at customer place, and I just thought if I share that with all of you, you guys will learn something from that and see more of a practical hands-on than going over some of the theories behind the scenes. So well, that's where we will start. So fantastic. And now the first question I want to answer is that where can you find scripts? Well, here you can go drop your email, and at the end of the session I would be sending a small details, and you will get all the scripts which I'm going to see today. Matter of the fact, if you want to just run along with it, you can just head over there in a separate window, drop your email, and immediately you will get a script about indexing, which I'm going to talk today. So that thing taken care immediately right away over here. Here is the place. Go drop your email, have your script ready along with it, and well, that's the only thing I wanted to talk about. Here is my favorite cartoon. A lot of people just talk about, hey, I don't want to invent, and they just stop somewhere. So the point is, we need to change ourselves. We need to do more for our SQL Server. We need to be proactive. We need to go fix it. And when I said drop an email, drop your email on the site over here, not in a question answer windows. I would be not doing it. This is something you have to do it. So here it is. Yeah, coming back to our topic is we need to be proactive with what we do, and that's what we need to do. So when I go to customer, what do I do for living? I do two things. One, I go to various organization, I help them out, do a 2-hour or 4-hour sharp training about how they can tune their server. And second thing what I do is that I actually tune people's server. I only do one thing, only one expertise. I do not do a lot of complicated stuff. If you have a performance problem, I will help you, and that's the only thing I do. So people hire me for various things, like sometimes they hire me for weeks, sometimes they hire me for day, and sometimes they hire me for 2 hours or 4 hours or 6 hours, right? They have a specific problem and they want to solve it. So how do I go and do it? You assume this way, like think about this. You are with your own system for a long time and you do not know what's the problem there, and that's why you get external consultant, and now you expect that your external consultant come here and do a magic in 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. How is that even possible? How can an external consultant can change things for you immediately? Well, that's what I have to do, right? I don't have an excuse to tell them people that, hey, hire me for 1 year and then I understand your system and then I can fix it for you. That's not the case. I have to immediately start making impact. They sometimes expect I show them something significant in first 10 minutes, something in first 30 minutes. How do I do that? Well, that's what we want to see, right? So that's what I do. So let's start with the basic. We are going to talk about something very, very basic, and we are going to see 3 demos where we are going to talk about configuration, we'll talk about some indexing thing, and a little bit talk about weight states and indexing. Well, when I go to consulting place, I don't only do 3 things, right? We have to do all of this. We have to analyze your indexes, we need to optimize and how your system is planned. We need to look at your file growth, IO distribution, instance, various settings SQL Server has it. Each of the setting has its own, and we need to help you with that. But, well, in today, next 40 minutes, we can do some limited stuff, but you can see those limited stuffs are low-hanging fruits. You can immediately take each of them, implement in your system, and immediately get some performance out of it. Well, these are the things which we need to do, but let's start. This is the last slide which I have, and I think with this, we are done with slides. Next, what we are going to do, we are going to see all the demos and all the good stuff in next 40 minutes. So with this, let me go back to my SQL Server Management Studio, and we will start with very first, very quick demonstration. I like to call this as a warm-up demo because it runs very, very fast. I have just practiced it a few minutes ago, and as soon as you see this happening, you will understand that it's working. Once again, I would like to say, do not leave your script email address in the question answer window. Go to this particular URL and drop this yourself, because that's what I expect. And if you are hearing some noise outside behind me, that's because I live very close to train station, and train is just going beside my home as we are talking, and now it's gone. Every hour it's like hourly call for me. Like I know that when the train goes, it means that is 1 hour. Well, this is the place you want to drop your email. Now let's go back to our SQL Server demo, and this will be our warm-up demo. Well, what happens? Number one thing which I see at various places is that number one place, if you guys can hear, I assume you guys can hear, right? So just anybody can just drop a note that if you can hear me properly in a question answer, I would be happy to see that. So coming back to this one, when I go to various, oh, fantastic, good, so many answers, thank you. Oh, good job, fantastic. So when I go to various organizations, this is what happens at the place. They have done one critical mistake with their system, and when I see that, I immediately like to go and fix it. And I would like to point that out to you. See, this is what happens. SQL Server problems only happens when your system gets old, when you have a lot of data, when you are inheriting data from previous organization and or previous DBA, right? Companies are taken over, applications are moving from places to places, and lot of thing happens. And that is the time you have performance problem. And this is how it is taken care of it. Said they take the database and move to the next database. They take your database, move to the next database. Why do the people do that? They do it for simple reason, because everybody believes that latest version of a product is better. For example, when you go to buy a phone, new iPhone or Android phone, you always go and ask that you want latest phone, right? You never go and ask, can you give me a phone which is 3 versions older? But what you do once you get your phone, you move over your contacts, you move over your photos, you move over a lot of stuff from your old phone to the new phone. Why? Because you care about that. Same thing happens with SQL Server. When you upgrade it, you are happy that you have a new machine, but you have one problem. You move over your database from older SQL Server version to new SQL Server version. And after you do all this, most of the people forget about one thing. They forget about changing database compatibility level. Here it is. If you go to options, you can see there is a place called compatibility level. Here is the setting. Here is the drop down. I'm just pointing you this particular drop down over here. Currently you can see my SQL Server's AdventureWorks 2014 is set to level 110, and 110 means it is actually running SQL Server 2012. If you click over here, you can see other options. There is option of SQL Server 2014, but a lot of people do not change that. Now my server, this particular SQL Server is SQL Server 2014, but people do not change to next version of it. You can see I even had SQL Server 2012 settings over here. What does that setting means? Well, this setting means one simple thing. When you set this to this particular value, at that time, see your SQL Server engine behaves like SQL Server 2012. So even though you purchased the latest version of SQL Server, which is 2014, but you are still running the older version of as a brain. So you have brand new hardware, but your heart is old. Your CPU is old, or your algorithm which is running is old. Well, why do we even have that then? The reason is that if you take your database and move to the latest version, immediately it does not break anything. So once you finish your upgrade, you can come back to over here and change this particular value to latest logic. And what happens when you change it to the latest logic or latest compatibility level? It will start taking lot of new changes and new algorithm improvements which Microsoft have put in SQL Server. And that is very important. When you change it, if you have used any of the code which is using older compatibility level, it may break. So you want to go and watch various codes. But today I'm only going to talk about performance tuning. And my experience is when you upgrade from 2012 to 2014 or even 28 to 2014, in my performance tuning experience, every single day I take 2 or 3 customers where I help them to tune their system. In last 2 years, okay, in last 2 years, there has not been a single example of a real world where when I upgraded from 2012 to 2014 or 28 to 2014, something is broke. The reason is simple, because most of the people do not use those advanced stuff. There are places, there are organizations who use very complicated things, but most of the time people do not use that. So changing that does not create big of the issue. But I totally tell you one thing, try out yourself first. First, make sure you change this thing on your development machine, test your cases, then you upgrade it. Everything I say, you need to test it on a development server, right? You don't want to get fired. And most importantly, like, you know, we want to make sure things works after we change. So why do we want to change it? But when I go to customer, right, one of the customer 2 weeks ago said, I want immediate performance improvement. You do something, I hire you for 1 hour. He was ready to pay me a lot of money for 1 hour, but he wanted immediate performance. The reason was simple. He had a go live situation. His customers were angry. He was failing in a load test, and he has to take this database live. So we all understand that it requires time to tune your system, but he only had a couple of hours. So one of the things which I come back here and see immediately, there was different compatibility level. I asked him, can I change this one? He said, absolutely. He didn't care about that. He was like, do whatever you want to do, just give me performance. So what did I do? I came here and changed, and immediately he got lots of performance. And I really liked it. He was like, wow, it's just things started to run for him. And I want to show you that example right away. So here I am on AdventureWorks database, which is like older database, and I still love it. I recently shifted to wide world imports with a new sample database, but still, trust me, I love AdventureWorks very, very well. So now let's see an example. Here is compatibility level of 120, and here is compatibility level of 110. 110 uses old cardinality estimation, but SQL Server 2014 now has better cardinality level right now, and all the estimation and algorithm, they have changed it. Let's see when I run both of this query together, which one gives me better performance. The one with latest compatibility level should give me better performance, and that is what will happen. But I want you to pay attention that how much it will be, what it will be, and you will be amazed by looking at the changes there. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to enable the execution plan. Over here, I click on include actual execution plan, and now I'm going to execute this query. Now when I execute this query, you can see it gives me the same result. Result is pretty fast, but when I click on execution plan, you are in for surprise. Both are same query, both run on the same database, same settings, but performance difference is huge. Look at this. It is only taking 4% resources, and this one is taking 96% of resources. This entire query ran into batch. This one is taking way lesser resources than what it was taken in earlier version of SQL Server. You can see the performance difference is huge. The higher number is bad. This is bad because it has taken 96% resources in this batch, and the lower number is good. But you can see the lower number is so good. It's just 4%. And that is the reason. So when I went back and changed this one, our customer immediately got performance improvement. Most of these queries started to run like it is flying. He was like, why I didn't change it? And but now it was done, and now he's getting performance. Now a couple of things I want to warn you over here. When you change this, something may break, which I already said, but as I said, in the last 2 years in my customers, I haven't seen it. So you can rest assured that most of the things will not break it. But again, you're going to try on your staging or development server first, right? After thoroughly testing, you can definitely take it live. And now here is the best part. Now, it's quite possible that some of your queries may run slower after you change this compatibility level, and there are various trace flags available to fix that. So that problem is really not a big problem. You can just fix it afterwards. It's just easy, right? I mean, those things, those queries which are not working, you can pass a specific trace flag and you can fix it. But again, that story some other time when I come back in the future. Today, I just want to walk you through in 1 hour of what I had done at my customer and took all the low-hanging fruits. My intention was to not to teach him theory. My intention was not to go and fix minute things. My intention was very simple. I go into the system in 1 hour, take care of all the low-hanging fruits. And yeah, that's what we need to do. So this is one of the things. And if you want to change it, definitely you need to have, one of the question is that what kind of access you need? Well, you just have to become admin. If you're admin, you can change all of this. And same thing in a SQL Server 2016, also the same demo will work and it will do even better job. So try it out. But I understand that a lot of customers are still not upgrading to 2014. And trust me, only in last 6 months, SQL Server 2016 is available from June 1st, 2016 publicly, but only 2 of my customers has so far upgraded. They are just waiting and watching, and most of my customers are in 2014. So all the demos which you see today will run on 2014, but rest assured, you can definitely run this on earlier version of SQL Server like SQL Server 2005 as well as 8 and definitely for 12 and 14, and I have tested each of them for 2016. So if you're using 2016, all the demos which you're going to see today are going to work just fine. So that's what it is. And now here is another trick. Here is another demo which we want to talk about, and it is about right. And one of the question is that when I change this setting, is this going to apply only to this particular session or is particular? No, not like that. It's going to apply to your database level. You can right click over here and you can see, like for example, I changed this level to 120. I just changed it. Now I can go back to AdventureWorks, click on property, see the option, and you can see it is set over here. It just changes at your database level and it will be immediately applicable to all the future connection which is going to run. Excuse me. And you can see that over here, right? Like I change over here, I executed this query and it had a different performance, and I change over here and it had different performance. So that's how it works. Fantastic question. Keep them coming, and as I see, I'll keep on answering them if it is relevant. And yes, once again, let's see another interesting demo. So this is the second thing which I did at my customer. This is my favorite demo. I don't know how many times I'm going to repeat it, but a lot of people are still living in the world which was created in, when I say it's world, which is SQL Server world, which was created like 20 years ago, right? SQL Server has moved ahead. Our hardwares have changed. A lot of things has been different from the day one, and we need to now understand that as technology, software and hardware has changed, we also need to be different and we need to start adopting new things. And one of my pet issue is like when I see this, it just pains me, on particularly on OLTP. OLTP, transactional database, if you have it, it's good thing to have it, like if you have those settings where there is a lot of transactions happening. But OLTP is very different from data warehousing. And data warehousing where you have like evening scripts, or when you are doing mass update, mass inserts and things, that's like totally different situation than when you are running on OLTP. Both of them should be treated differently. But I've seen people often confusing and doing mistake. And one of the famous mistake is about statistics. So let's see an example, and I will explain you this example after I'm done. Usually we like to cover theory first. Note, we are going to talk about first demonstration, see the result and map it back to our theory, and I hope you will enjoy that, and I'm confident that you will enjoy that. So let's first create two databases. First I like to call status on, and second one I'm going to call it status off, and I just created these two databases. After I created database, I'm going to play with two of the setting. One setting is auto create statistic for that database, and second one is auto update statistics. For one of the database, which I like to call status on, I'm going to leave it on over here. You can see that over here. I just set that two settings on for this database, and the same two settings I'm going to turn off over here for second database. Now pay attention to this particular one over here, and it's also created. Now things are simple. I have now two databases, both are same, only change between them is one has this setting on and another one has off. That's it. Next, I'm going to create a simple small table in one of the database. I will just zoom out so you can see the entire script together. So here it is. Now I created this sample table and created one cluster index in it and one non-cluster index in it. Right after that, I will create the same table in different database, which is statistic of, and on top of it, I will also create clustered and non-cluster indexes. Now, once I've done that, what I'm going to do is populating this particular database with only 10,000 row. It's very, very small data set, and I'm going to populate it over here. So I just populated this second data set as well. So here it is. Well, so far, if you've not understood what I did, I'll recap very quickly so you will understand. I'm just decreasing the font. So first, I created two database statistics on and off. For one, I left the statistic on, and for another one, I have just turned it off. After that, I created two tables in each of them. So one table in each of them, and created some indexes. Later on, I populated both of them. So far, everything is just fine. Now we are going to do the test. I'm going to run this particular query, and we are going to see execution plan. Can any of you guess what is the difference between performance of this? You can write on a Twitter, right? You can just say how the session is going on Twitter. Here is my username, and you can just tweet me. I'll be happy to talk to you. I'm watching my Twitter right now also, and you can write anything and I'll be happy to answer. And definitely you can write in question window. But question is that what will be the performance difference between these two query? What do you guys think? Like, is this 50-50%? Was it 60-40, 70-80? What will be difference? Or it will be same. See, what we have done, two databases we just created, populated some data, and now I'm executing this query with execution plan on. Let's see which one gives us better performance and by how many %. So here it is, answer is in front of us, and I'm going to zoom it a little bit so we can clearly see that. Well, top query where we had statistic on, we are getting better performance, and it is using 37%. And bottom query is taking 63% of the resources, and that's because very, very simple, because it has one thing which is called warning. Do you guys see this yellow thing over here? And that's a problem, right? It looks like a problem. I mean, it is problem. You can see over here we are having sick as well as little bit key lookup, but there is a sick, and because of that it's taking much less performance or much less resources over here. That means it has better performance. Lesser resources, better performance. And over here we have cluster index scan. It's not sick, but well, in this case looks like this one is better. Now a couple of people will say, hey, scan is good when data set is small. I know all this. What I'm trying to tell you is that look at the most of the cases. We are not here to talk about edge cases. Like we have only 1 hour to tune people's system, and we want to take out all the low-hanging fruits. And this is one of the example. Now can I just go and see what this error is? Well, we can. Let's mouse over here, and it will pop up this entire screen or entire yellow screen where we can see stuff. And if you scroll down all the way, you can see there is a warning. This warning is teaching us something, right? Whoa, look at this one. It has a warning. It says you don't have a statistics updated. Hey, we need to update statistics when SQL Server is asking. But I've seen a lot of people are keeping this particular setting off. And I want to go and show you where this statistics is. But before I show you, I want to ask you this question. You can see the performance difference, right? When the result set was there, you can see it was 37 versus 63%. That's like a little bit performance difference, not too much, right? It's not like 40% and 90%. It's like only 20% difference between these two numbers. Is it good? Well, trust me. You think this is a small? It's not. What do you guys think? How big is my database right now? My database right now is, let's go and check the size, right? It's very, very, very small. Why I'm saying very multiple times? If you are using right now Microsoft Word, when you type 2 times the same word, it will give you say grammar error. But no, not really. It's really very, very small. And I'm going to show you by just right-clicking on database and clicking on property. You can see the size of the database is just 9 MB, and you are saying this much performance difference. If I go back to this database, expand it, click on a table, right-click on a table, and if you see the size of the table, you will further think this is like what is going on. Look at this. The total size is less than 1 MB. Index is only 234 KB and size of data is 0.4 KB. It is really small table. And it's true, right? It's less than 1 MB. If you take out your phone and take a photo right now, the size will be over 1 MB. But here our table is less than 1 MB of the size, and we are seeing this much performance difference. Now, this performance difference will be persistent when we grow the data. So that means if your table is in megabytes, in gigabytes, in terabytes, this performance difference of 20% will be huge for you. So if you have OLTP system, you want to go back to properties, over here, click on options and make sure there are two settings are set on. They are auto create statistics as well as auto update statistics. If they are false, the way you see in this demonstration, you will not get best performance. Now, why would you keep it off? Well, some people keep it off because they have read somewhere on internet we should keep it off. And there are reasons for keeping it off too. I suggest you keep it off if you have a certain specific business need, when you have, after loading lot of data, if it is generating lot of IO and you have a slow IO subsystem, you may want to keep it off and nightly write a job about updating statistics. But nowadays we are moving to the fast, like who has a slow IO subsystem? We have a fast SAN, right? Your switch, go to your SAN guy and ask how much IO throughput your SAN can handle. He will give you some large number. Look at your network, or look at even your own PC which will support 100 Mbps. And when you have 100 Mbps kind of IO and network, and look at your SSDs, right? They run very fast. This 1 MB database is nowhere. Those days are gone when statistics were taking too long of the time and generating a lot of IO. It still generates a lot of IO, but it is taken care in a matter of seconds. So you may want to leave this particular two setting on. Now there are other two settings also about auto increment statistics as well as auto update statistics. So here is my suggestion. Okay. Now I would tell you what I believe you should do. But again,
Pinal, we just lost you. It says you're talking, but we're not hearing you. Still don't hear anything. Haven't heard of. Okay, Pinal, we may. You may have to check your audio. It went off so quickly. It's like you lost connection completely. Okay, let me bring up, send me a chat message or Neeraj, can you hear me?
Yes,
okay, so it is definitely just Pinal then.
I just checked and sent a message to you now.
Okay. Everybody, we're trying to get back in touch with him and see if he can check. There we go.
Yes.
There we go. Okay, you're back.
Yes. Yes, and I'll tell what happened. I mean, that's amazing.
He just left.
I think, yeah, what happened was very sad thing. Like I just make me presenter and I'll start talking what happened. It was fantastic. Hello? Hello? Hey, make me presenter so I can start sharing my screen.
Yeah, I'm doing it now. There we go.
It's not something,
Still not there yet?
one
Okay.
thing.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me see if I can catch it. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. It's still got your old one
Alright.
out there, so it was. I was having a hard time catching the right one. Is it giving you an option?
It did, but I'm not sure which screen is going. Hey, do you guys see? All right, so we are back actually. Can you guys see the screen?
Let's see your
And I
SSMS
assume you
screen.
guys.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Hey, sorry about that. You know what happened? I was so unfortunate. I have a 2 machine at my home, and I make sure that I have a second machine ready always in case of the backup or something goes wrong. And I had a famous blue screen today. You guys couldn't see it because this entire thing just crashed, but I was like so upset. Fortunately, I had a second machine connected, and I'm talking on a second machine right now. So as a DBA, it's very, very important that we always have a backup of whatever we make changes we make. Otherwise, I mean, situation like this may come and it would be just looking very, very, I mean, I would have looked very, very bad if I would have not come back in a minute. So take a backup, always have a connection ready, and yeah, and Steve, you may want to put yourself on a mute. We are hearing. That's fine. So
Sorry
guys,
about that.
one of the no issue. So one of the setting which we were talking about right now was when I go to this particular statistics on and click on property, you can see there are other settings as well. So now, what are the settings should be? So initially, I would like to suggest you keep only these 2 settings as a true and leave rest of all as a false right now, because these 2 settings are very, very powerful and it will just work fine. But let everybody off, and there is a different story from what you should do for all these statistics. But at my customer, it was critical that I turn on these 2 settings first, because they were the one which will give you best performance, or that was the one which were for low-hanging fruit. And as it was OLTP system, we did. If you have a data warehousing environment, well, you can leave it off. That's fine, right? And turn it on when you need to select data from there. Anytime, if you care about performance, you want to turn it on, but if you do not care about performance, your processes are not performance-centric or real-time, you can just leave this off or on, does not matter at the time. For data warehousing, I would turn it off. For OLTP, I would turn it on. So this is what I would like to say. Well, these are the 2 things you can do, but there are more things I like to do when I go for performance tuning. And people who need performance tuning, they need more help than this. This is just not enough. These are 2 things which we have done. Now I want to show you something interesting. This would be a final demo, but this demo has multi-sites and it will take a little bit time of yours to understand. So first, what I'm going to do is I am just going to create a table. This is the script. So I will just first create a simple table, and I like to call the table name as a missing indexes. I created that particular table, and now I am populating in this one around 1 million records. And it will take some time, but it will be done fairly fast because I have just inserted some data into this table. So I created a database, a table, and then I inserted around 1 million records in it. I haven't done anything fancy so far. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to retrieve this much data from this table. And you can see there are different rows over here. It's just a simple thing, right? It's the like regular select statement which you would have executed on your system. Over here, you have ID between 1 and 10,000. Over here, you have ID which is greater than 1,000. And final query has where city is equal to New York. So this is little bit more specific query. And each query I have executed 5 times. You can see I have written go 5. That means these queries are executed 5 times. This is the first query, this is the second query, and afterwards it will run the third query, and here it is. All queries are run nearly 5 times. And that's it. Now, let's do an interesting thing. Now I'm going to open another script over here. I like to call it missing index script. You can download it immediately while you are talking. Right now, if you just go over here to this particular URL and enter your email, you will get email in 30 seconds back with this particular script which I'm showing you. You can do that. So do that. It's very powerful script. I do this at all of my customer and it immediately gets them performance. So let me execute this. See what are the output of this query. Here it is. It is telling me three different rows. You can see. So I created a table called missing index. That was name of the table. I executed different queries on it, 3 different queries, each of them 5 times. And let's assume this is my common workload. And now I go back to my query, and over here, when I executed this query, it gave me 3 rows. Let's understand these 3 rows together, and you can see why and what we should do with this query. I can definitely explain you each line of this query, but let's face the reality. Who wants to understand how this query is built when we have query ready to use it? You can take this query and immediately do something with it, and that is you run this on your production server. You can do this one on your production server, right? No problem. You can run this on your production server. It will give you a bunch of results. It is not going to damage it. It's not going to create any IO workload. It's not going to do anything which is troubling. It will be just fine. So rest assured, you can just run this on your production server without any worrying. And it will give you this output. You can take this particular output in Excel if you prefer. And I love it. Copy with headers. That feature, I love it. Okay, just a little bit detour. When SQL Server didn't have this feature earlier, there was so much trouble. Now I just can do it and dump into Excel or a Notepad or anything and can start using it. Well, enough story about that. Now coming back over here. Now, when you execute this, it gives us 3 results set. But now next thing, you want to try it out before on your development server before you do on a production. So now you got this 3 results set. If I were you, I would just take this result, which is SQL statement, and copy into new window. Do this new window copy part in your development server, and if you're happy with this particular index, then you can create them on your production. But just do not create them immediately. Now, what is this one? Well, SQL Server internally measures all the detail. It figured it out that on missing index table, there was seek happened 5 times, and this was the impact, and this was last user seek. So what it is telling us that if I would have created this index already on my SQL Server, it would have used it for 5 times. So it is indirectly telling you, hey, I wish I had this one. If I had this one, I would have used it 5 times already, and it would have given you lot more impact than any other indexes. Higher number means it has higher impact. And I was recently sicked. I was sick few seconds ago. Look at, this is the time where I am right now. So if I execute this again, it will give me the same result, right? But if I go back here and run this particular query one more time, okay, then this number will change once the query is over. Now, if I come back over here and execute this, you can see it changed from 5 to 6. It is telling me, why are you not creating me? It would really benefit me. Well, we need to listen SQL Server, won't we? Right? We don't want to displease it. So what I'm going to do is, this is something you need to test on your development server. If it works, then move to production server. Now, I will execute this query because SQL Server is telling me to create this index. I created this index. Now, I come back over here. Let me execute this query one more time. But here, you won't find this query. Or matter of the fact, your result will be very interesting that you will not find any query at all. What SQL Server has done is that SQL Server has reset all the data for this particular table. Now come back over here, and I'm going to run once again the same queries But this time, instead of running them 5 times, I'm going to run them only maybe once, right? So let me run these queries one time, and let's see what's our output. Well, queries are running, and once it is done, we will go and check what is our output of this query. Now you can see it's done. I come back over here, run my missing index script one more time, and it's not showing me anything. That's magic. You know what has happened right now? That's beautiful thing, and that's what I wanted to teach. There are so many people do very common mistake when they do this. What has happened is, let's run it one more time, and then we will run it second time, and I'll tell you answer of that. It's very, very interesting. You guys will love this answer, and this will also teach you that why I am teaching you this particular way and why I was able to get better performance from my customer. Look at this. Once you run it second time, other two one were picked up. Here it is. These are other indexes. My original index is not picked up. The one which we have created is not picked up. So always make sure that it is ran a couple of times, because sometimes SQL Server does not record the first one, or I've seen sometimes it takes a while for SQL Server to pick up. So whatever it is, have a little patience. Don't immediately react on it. Wait for a while, and you can see it has picked up other two queries, but not my original query. Now, let me run this 5 times. Do you guys think this query will ever show up in a missing index? Answer is no, because we have created index on that particular table. SQL Server is not going to pick that particular index again. Now, here it is ran already 5 times. We have waited a little bit also, and let me execute it multiple times. No, it's not there. Once again, it's not there. So we have successfully created one index, and similarly, I can create other 2 indexes also, and when those query runs, SQL Server will not report. So what did I do at my customer's place? This is what I have done. I did 3 things in very first 10 minutes, and they were getting tremendous performance. First, I changed the cardinality. Second thing, I changed the statistics, which I auto-updated that off. And third, I ran this particular query on their machine. And on their production server, there was hundreds of missing indexes. Did I create all the hundreds of missing indexes? No, you cannot do that even. That would be a problem. What I did is that I took the top 10 records from my result set and just created that. By just creating 10 indexes on their system, I was able to get immediate performance improvement. And my customer was so happy. It bought my time. I gained trust in him that I wanted to do a lot more things for him. But how do I do that? I need his trust. I need him to believe in me. Once he believed, I was able to propose a lot more things, and I was able to fix a lot of other things for the system. With this, I'm on a very last demonstration of our presentation. I recently updated my SQL wait state script. Now, you can run this particular script. If you have subscribed at go.sqlauthority.com, you might already have this particular script, so that's good for you. Go over here, drop your email, and you will get this particular script. So over here it is. This is the script. You can run this on your system, and whoa, what happened? Oh, I know what has happened. Isn't it funny? I just wrote something, and that has crashed. So look at this. I executed the script, and I got this result set. And here is my result set. It is telling me what are the different weights I have in my system. So you can go to that, go to this particular URL, drop your email address. Immediately you will get a handy guide about how you can run this query and what each of your weight type means. Like for example, if you run this and if you see expected weight, what you should do. These are resource bottlenecks. When I executed this on my customer, I was immediately able to figure it out. What's going on his system? What is his bottleneck? Like for example, if you focus on fixing I/O, what happens if your issue and your problem is CPU? If you try to fix your memory, what happens if your issue with locking? what happens if your issue is somewhere totally different place and you keep on fixing something else? You need to know what's resource bottleneck. You need to understand what is going wrong in your system. And this particular script will do, but once you run in your system, it will give you top wait state. This column is wait state. This is how long it took, how many tasks were waiting, and what is the total percentage. Based on this, you can figure out which is bad wait state. For example, in my case, there is a locking going on, and that's like a 50, almost 47%, like 50% of the time, and there was 11 different tasks, and over 6 seconds of wait time it has generated. Well, this is my personal machine. This is like backup machine, right? I just told you that I had to spin it up because I had a little issue few seconds ago. But you can see this is how performance tuning is done. I was able to figure it out that there was issue with CPU with my customer, and there was issue with CX packet wait, and I helped him fix it. You can just go over here, download that particular script, and it will tell you how you can fix each of the most popular wait sets. Hey, better than that, why don't you just send email if you want to? Take this in Excel, send me email, and I will be happy to answer you that what are the problems you have and what you can do. Write to me. I'd happy to do that. And you know what? If you send me email, I promise I'll respond to you in 6 hours. Most of the time, I respond in 30 minutes if I'm not on a session like this, or anyway, irrespectively, maximum within 6 hours, you will get my answer that what's your performance problem and how you can fix it. I like to listen your performance problem. I'll happy to fix you. And matter of the fact, when I do performance tuning consultation, I don't ask for user's username and password. I want other person to learn it. So I walk him through how he can do it. I give all the scripts and I teach how they can fix their performance on their machine. That's beautiful. So next time if they have a performance problem, they don't have to come to me. They can fix it themselves. And that's my goal. I don't want to have repeat customer. I rather have you teach one time and you do it yourself, because there are so many SQL Server installation and there are so many issues with the performance that one doesn't have to worry about job security. It's keep on gonna to come because people are gonna to face performance issue. So I always believe that it is just fine that people learn how to do tuning. Well, that's what it is. That's what we wanted to talk about. There are a couple of last things I would like to add. So, well, we just talked about 3 more things like indexes. We talked about how we can fix the statistics. We talked about cardinality, but trust me, there are a lot more to do in a performance. But I'm sure today we are not going to cover them. These are the all things. When I will come back again in the future, Steve, I'll request Steve that give me opportunity to come back, share some of the more wisdom, what I do with various customers in just 1 hour to tune the system, and I'll be happy to fix it. With this, I think we are right at the top of the hour. I would be mindful about your time. You guys have been amazing. Thank you very much for listening. Here is the place where you can go, and do come back again for next time's fundamental session. There is a lot more things Steve has planned. We have so many good speakers are coming. So yeah, take advantage of it. And thank you again for joining. Over here, I would like to hand it over to Steve or Neeraj. And thank you guys. I appreciate it for having me here. You guys, all of you 300 people joining, listening, and all of you watching on YouTube, keep on doing it. Thanks again, and I really appreciate it. Over to you, Steve and Neeraj.
Thank you, Pinal. That was great, because being able to get to see the low-hanging fruit real quickly and what really high-level people do is fantastic. And believe me, guys, if you send him an email and ask for, some questions and start talking about performance tuning, he is going to answer it quickly. It's not something you send to and then 3 weeks later you get an answer. You can do that, or you can tweet him. Obviously, I should have tweeted him earlier, but anyway, thanks, Pinal, and yes, we're going to definitely have you back. We will be giving away the full comp session. I'm hoping to try to get this all accumulated and figured out by in the morning. That way, whoever wins can go ahead and be making their travel plans. And what I'm going to have to do is, anyway, we'll pick somebody, and somebody will have a free comp session by tomorrow. And go ahead and sign up for our session in October, 2 sessions in October with Bob Ward and Aaron Stellato, and I think I will be closing it out. Thank you. Bye.